Hey everybody, Karyn Bryant here. Welcome to the H.E.A.T podcast. I'm here with...
What's up, everyone? Alan Jouban.
So it's Sunday Fun Day when we're doing this, and because we both have some things going on tomorrow. But Alan, I won my tennis match that I was playing earlier today. I was playing singles, and I won.
I saw that. I was trying to read the score. You won one match, and then you had a...
Yeah, so I won the first set. Yeah, I won the first set 7-5, and then I lost the second set 6-4, which was stupid because I was ahead. But then I won the tiebreak 10-4, so that's pretty decisive. And she had a couple of good shots on me, but basically it was my own mistakes that lost me. You know, any of the games, like, you know what I mean. We were competitive with each other, but like she wasn't crushing me and she wasn't kicking my ass. Like I made mistakes, you know, so that's kind of frustrating.
Who had better technique in this game?
I think I had better. It depends. Like certain techniques of mine, I had a better backhand than her, but she had a pretty good one. I don't know.
Who is the better athlete?
Of course, I'm going to say me, Alan. I'm the baller. I'm the best.
Who is the better athlete?
Oh, me, clearly.
Okay.
I mean, I won.
Yeah, but you know, the skill has to outweigh the will.
Exactly.
I at least said something like that. We're good. I saw that online though. Congrats.
I
wish I would have played something competitive. All I did today was I did grass. I did some stuff around the house, and I washed my truck. Black Betty is cleaned up, so I'm happy. I'm ready to go.
Nice, very nice. And did you have any soccer games or anything this weekend? Did Cage?
My son had a soccer game. They killed it.
Nice.
He's been killing it, man. I enjoy it now that like. When he competes, it's like competition day for me. I'm super excited all day, like all morning. I'm excited to go to the game and everything. It's funny how that is. Me and my coach talked about that before. Like he's like, my coach Julio was always saying, dude, when Cage starts playing soccer, you're gonna be like competitive. And I was like, you know, we'll see. But I realized I'm very competitive as a father. I'm very like, you know, still fair to everybody, and
right.
I congratulate both teams. I root for other teams too. I mean, like my son's competitors, I'm always like applauding them when they do well. But when my son's got the ball, I'm on him, man. I'm super competitive. It's in you, you know. It's ingrained in you.
Yeah, no, it's funny. When Aurora was playing basketball, I was bugging out on the sidelines all the time because it just stressed me out so much watching her play.
A lot,
and, you know, they did really well this past season and stuff, but so that would always give me total agita. But you know, when I'm playing tennis, like I want to win. Like last night we went out with friends. Like I didn't have that extra glass of whatever because I was like, no. I got a game, you know, I got a match.
Yeah.
And so, and I got my lineup earlier in the week. And then, you know, because the last couple of matches I was playing doubles, I definitely prefer singles. I get the lineup and it said singles. And I was like, oh, okay. So literally like all week it's been in my mind. It's been like fight week for me. And it's just been something that I was thinking about. So it's fun to actually get out there and play and win. I could have played a little better, but I did all right.
That's how it should be, though. I think that, like, if you're going to compete in something, give it your all, be prepared, and, like, get the best out of you, the best you that day, rather than, you know, I went out last night, I don't take that seriously. That's no good. So
no, I gave it
I'm
my
glad
all.
you're doing it.
I gave it my all. Well, listen, yesterday, I got to be honest, you know what, dude? This one kind of bums me out. Aleksandar Gustafsson has announced that he's retiring. You know, Anthony Smith submitted him in the 4th round of the fight. And I didn't expect it, but I'm not surprised by it, I guess is how I feel about it. But it bums me out.
I mean, I'm very bummed out about the obvious him hanging up the gloves. I mean, we can get into that. But I as much as – no, I want to say it's – you know, I'm trying to be honest. I love watching Gustafsson. But when I'm watching the fight with Cage and he's asking me, who are you going for? And I go, you know what? I like them both. Because Anthony Smith, even though we haven't known as an MMA fan base, we haven't known Anthony Smith quite as long. Right. And he hasn't been in some of these wars in our hearts that Gustafsson has. But Anthony Smith is such a good guy. And the quality that I like about him as an individual, as a person, is his honesty. He's very, very honest. He's just honest about himself, about other people, about his performances, about what he expects. He doesn't say the rah, 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 I'm the best in the world, nobody can touch me, you know, this guy's going down. He's just very honest about the way he analyzes things. And so I picked up on that right away when he started getting into the UFC. I appreciate it. I appreciate his fighting style. There was some times where his jiu-jitsu, and I think we can all agree, got him in trouble. He was kind of playing too much jiu-jitsu and not trying to scramble out. And this was the time where we got to see a little more of that offensive jiu-jitsu and how good it really is. And it looked like there was some points in the fight where he might be in trouble when he had the back. Like he might have been a little too high, that maybe he's going to fall off. He corrected his mistake, found his base, found the finish, and a huge victory for him, not only over such a name in Gustafsson's hometown. Once again, another disappointment for Gustafsson, but a big victory for Anthony Smith on that side.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting fight. You know, the first round, Gus was definitely on his bicycle, moving, and it just seemed like Anthony was just standing there headhunting. He definitely won the round, you know, because Aleksandar really didn't do a lot. He didn't really throw much. He did just kind of bounced around. But I was thinking, you know, he's probably really stressed out. You're the main event. You're at home. There's a lot on your mind. The last fight was a loss. You know, I felt like, okay, I'll give him a round to just kind of get his bearings. But then, you know, Anthony wins again. So the third round, though, finally, Alex started coming around. And then I thought, okay, it could be 3, 4, 5. It could be all Gus's. Or, you know, then I thought he was doing okay in the fourth round initially. And I thought, okay, maybe we'll get a 2-2 situation. And then it'll be like this amazing fifth round. But then Anthony got it. And it was like, I was kind of surprised by it. I didn't necessarily see that coming. Like, I didn't expect it that kind of finish because Anthony had tagged him so many times. I thought, if anything, it was going to be a knockout. But it's one of those things where, like you were saying, they're both good guys. Like, I didn't really have a dog in the fight. I always have liked Gus, and it is kind of fun when you see the hometown guy win. But I also know that Anthony is trying to shake off that other loss. And, you know, both of them were in that situation. And so it was just kind of tough to see either guy lose.
Yeah, 100%. The thing that was, I felt like Gustafsson, the thing that was kind of bothering me was Gus is starting so slow, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned it, like Anthony was kind of headhunting early, and the thing that I picked up on right from the get-go was that he was just missing every fight, every shot. Anthony Smith was throwing these big bombs, just missing Gustafsson, and I kept thinking, like, all right, if he's finding his range this early or just missing this early, he's going to pick up very soon.
Gus had a couple of really sweet, like...
When he rolled underneath and they made eye contact... Yeah, I like that part. It was a good little mutual amount of respect between both of them. But I felt like Anthony was just out of range very early in that fight. And Gus was like he just wasn't throwing a lot. You know, the quantity wasn't there. And then when he was throwing them, he just seemed to be a lot of movement. I really feel, without having seen any of his training camp, but I really feel like going into this fight, they worked a lot on maybe Anthony Smith was going to come in very aggressive. So they wanted to be the guy that was moving and switching and throwing a variety of things. And this is good in terms of when you paint a picture of a fight, we're going to make the guy guess. We're going to throw different stances. I'm going to move left. I'm going to move right. I'm going to throw feints. I'm going to look low, look high. The more diversity, the better. It keeps your opponent guessing. But if you don't have that base on which you're attacking on, then you're not going to surmount very, very much offense. And I felt like although he was keeping them guessing kind of from a defensive perspective, offensively, Gus wasn't throwing anything. He wasn't showing anything. Nothing looked very scary. Like nothing was really chambered or like looked like it was there to do a lot of damage. It was all kind of there to just kind of toy with him a little bit. But Anthony was closing the range that entire time. And so that's what kind of worried me as a Gus fan. As we said, not a dog in a fight, but knowing Gus. And I gave Anthony Smith the first 2 rounds. I assume you probably did as well. Gus picked it up in the third and then going into the fourth, but then the inevitable finish came up. It was just a little bit too late. I do agree with Gus's the way he analyzed his fight is that he said, man, he doesn't feel like he didn't have it anymore. And he was showing in that first and second round that it wasn't really there. He was able to pick up the momentum a little bit in the third, but the old Gus was definitely nowhere to be seen in that fight.
Yeah. There was more timidity, you know, with engagement and stuff, and all that movement. But I will say, you know, I really love the amount of public support and outpouring for Gus, like between not just fans but other fighters like John Jones. You know, even tweeted like, I don't know if I should believe you, or I don't know, something like that. But if it's true, you know, thank you for making me better and stuff, and you know, go have a great time with your family. And DC, you know, sent something out about how, hey, look at Gus. Yeah, you made all of us have to be better. I mean, that's the thing. You know, I feel like he could retire with maybe some frustration of, hey, I had title fights and every time I came up short. But I feel like knowing that everybody acknowledges how he made them have to be better is something.
I don't know if this is the perfect example, but he's kind of Dan Marino-ish, where like he never made it to the big show.
But everybody knows Dan Marino was freaking great.
Everybody loves Dan Marino. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. Yep. He never got that gold around his waist or his ring or his finger. Great. But he's great, and he brought the best out of other fighters. Yep. And there's so many memorable fights, whether it was the DC, like you mentioned, or it was John Jones. John Jones is the fight for Gustafsson that really took him to the next level. Yep. We had never seen John Jones tested in that kind of way, and here comes Gustafsson, this young guy who was tapped out early in his career with no facial hair, comes back, starts training with the guy that tapped him out, and just starts getting better and better and better. Had that war with John Jones, takes John Jones down. One of the first times we've seen John Jones taken down. It's the first time we've seen John Jones busted up that badly, challenged, and the thing that won John Jones that fight was his championship caliber in the later rounds. That fifth round when it was really tied up, John Jones pulled through, and that's where Gustafsson kind of needed to work on certain areas. But it's like we can go on. We can break it down with the DC fight as well. Like he makes people become great champions, and it sucks to be a stepping stone in somewhat of a way. But still, he still had cemented a great legacy, and so he has so much to be proud of. I know it hurts. I know it hurts going home and losing twice to all of his fans. Like that's got to burn. That's got to sting, especially to be the last one there. And going back into this, he had to be going, I'm not letting this happen twice. I'm not going to let this happen again to my people. And it happened again. I wonder, though, Karyn, and I want to get your take on this. Had he have won that fight, that puts him in a pretty good position. He just won at home. That's more money, more everything, everything happening. I wonder if it was the loss and the feeling inside his chest, inside the octagon, that made him pull the trigger on hanging up the gloves rather than him premeditative knowing before the fight. So
you're basically saying if he had won, would he have retired?
I question that. I do.
I don't know, because if he's saying afterwards, I just didn't have it in me anymore. I just don't. That makes me think that he knows that that's the case, win or lose. But at the same time, I feel like, part of it was that if he lost, he knew he didn't have the time or the desire to, claw his way back up the rankings, right? So if he won, maybe he would have been like, all right, cool. Maybe I'm going to get the next title shot, right? Or Jimmy or Johnny Walker will, or Dominic Reyes. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Reyes is good. But you know what I mean? He would have been like, I'm in the mix. And so, maybe he wouldn't have necessarily left if he had won. But then again, you could say, look, if you had already had that in your mind, if that's already something that you're considering, you got one foot out the door. So maybe he would have still walked away on a win as well.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have to bring up that he actually answered some of this question for us is he said, I'm not in this sport for the money. Right. I'm not in this sport for those things. I'm in this sport to compete with the best in the world. And if I can't do that, then I don't want to be here. And it's just even more respect towards him because, look, a lot of people have fought, and we don't have to say any names, but we know a lot of people in this sport that have fought way longer than they should have for paychecks and for those type of reasons. And it's just because, that's our job and we're fighters, and it takes so long to get to this level. And it's when it's done, you're like, well, what am I going to do now? So I need to keep fighting for the money. But for him, I'm glad to see that, or it sounds like Gus is probably already taken care of financially. He can hang him up when he feels it's time. It's a sad thing. Did you realize early when Dan Hardy started interviewing him what was happening? Did you think that was happening from the beginning of the interview?
When he started to take his gloves off.
Yes.
I looked at Wade. I was like, oh, no. No. And it started bumming me out. I didn't like it at all. I was not happy.
I was going two ways with it because in the fights, but a lot of fighters, when I corner guys, they're so tired when they're done fighting. They're like, take my gloves off.
Right. Because it's like hot and tired.
It's hot and tired. You just want to take it all, like taking headgear off. But taking the gloves off. And so a lot of fighters are very persistent about take my damn gloves off right away.
Right.
And I could see him struggling. He had his finger in the tape, and I'm thinking, well, Gus has been in the octagon so many times. He can't be one of these guys that freak out about gloves. He's done post-fight interviews for years with gloves on. Why is he so persistent to get this tape off? And it started dawning on me about 10 seconds into it, and I go, something's coming. Something's coming. When he grabbed the microphone, I go, damn, I'm watching Gustafsson inside of this octagon for the very last time. And it was a sad moment, but, very, he's so classy the way he went about it, but it was sad for all of us fans that appreciate watching him compete.
Yeah, I really like him. And again, same thing. Like, he starts undoing it. And I felt right away, like, I don't like this. Stop. And he was so, like you said, persistent and insistent on taking them off.
Yes.
And then just kind of throws them down on the canvas. I was like, oh, no. I was bummed. But he's always been a good dude in interviews and everything that I've ever done with him. Got 2 kids, you know what I mean? So he's fine. He's cool. I think that Gus will, still have a lot of good stuff in his life, and we all appreciate him. And also earlier in the night, I didn't see it happen at the time, but Nick Hein also retired.
Wow.
Lightweight, yeah. So he lost to Frank Camacho apparently, and then I saw him tweet it out that he was saying, he was done with this because he was a judoka before this, and then this many years in the UFC and fighting, on to the next thing. Because he also was an actor, he was a policeman. Nick has some other things going on, but the last few fights haven't gone his way, and so he's decided to also say goodbye. So thank you to Nick Hein as well.
Yeah, as well. I mean, Nick was you had interviewed him a couple times as well, right?
Good dude. Yeah, real nice guy.
Good guy. Things kind of didn't seem to go, not to rub it in, but go his way towards the end of the career. It seemed like he had a couple losses that he wasn't able to show the best of himself. Because he's a phenomenal fighter. I've seen him train and fight, and from the interviews that you guys did with him, or when you went to the gym and I saw his style, and I was like, man, this guy's very good. But he had some tough matchups along the way as well, and also didn't get to show the best of himself. But also, if he's hanging it up, there's probably a reason he's not showing the best of himself. Maybe it's not the fire, maybe it's injuries, maybe whatever it is. But it's once us as fighters, we're not doing the things with our bodies that our heads are telling us to do. That's when you start getting those doubts inside. For
sure. Well, listen, I was upset to find that Ilir Latifi was not going to be able to fight Volkan Oezdemir for the co-main event. Man, that bummed me out because both guys are great. I feel like we haven't seen Ilir in action in a long time. Volkan's trying to shake off a loss in England that I didn't think he lost, and I told him that after the fight. But the other day, I did. I was like, dude, I thought you won, for what it's worth. And I don't know if it's like sometimes when I tell people that, I feel like, is that just salt in the wound? Like if you thought you won too, and like you hear other people saying like, dude, you won, does that feel better or worse? Because I feel like that happened to you in your last fight.
I'll tell you from my experience, I really enjoy it when it's from my peers or people involved in the sport, such as yourself, as long as that we know it's coming from a truthful place. Because I don't when I run into fans or whatever, and they're like, yeah, man, you totally won that fight in Brazil, in Sweden. And I'm like, I fought in Atlanta, so I don't really know if you scored it round for round the way I did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
totally.
When people that really watch it and they break it down, dude, this was so much happening, and so then I think fighters do appreciate it a lot more. So go ahead, though.
Well, cool, yeah, and I so I was looking forward to that fight. Find out it gets canceled, text Ilir. I'm like, dude, I'm so bummed. And he said, he hurt his lower back and stuff. And
during fight week, apparently, right?
Yeah, no, it just sucks. It sucks. Yeah. But, so hopefully they can rebook that. And Volkan's been really cool about it. And on social media, like, he's like, it is what it is, whatever. So, cool. I'm glad he's being cool about it. But we then got Jimmy Manuwa and Aleksandar Rakic. And oh my God, I screamed out all the bad words. The bad words when that kick landed. That was ridiculous.
I don't know. Karyn, I mean, that kick was ridiculous. But
ridiculous.
So, a fan, matter of fact, gave a really good point. So, the reason I'm kind of like at a loss for words, because the way that his head bounced off the canvas, I don't even know how to describe this, because all right, when your lights get shut out, that means that your brain probably bounced off of your skull and you gave you concussion, and now the lights went out. So you're rebooting. On the way down, for him to slap the canvas with the back of your head, which is the softest spot, the most vulnerable spot, the spot in the sport that is illegal because it is so dangerous to get hit, and the lights are already shut off, and now your brain is concussed, and you come down with all of your body weight and slap it like that. I could not believe how hard his head, and like I'm saying this with enthusiasm, but only because it was such a dramatic, just gut wrenching. I don't know how to describe it properly, but it was very bad. It was very bad, to put it very simple. If I had to say one word for it, it was a very bad knockout. And so I was tweeting or talking about it on social media, and I go, this might have been one of the worst head to canvas after falling to the canvas knockouts I've ever seen. And somebody brought up another really good one that happened on international soil, if you will. Darren Till.
Oh, that was, I was there. That was bad.
I mean, his head bounced off of the canvas like a basketball. That was a very bad one.
I mean, that was brutal.
That was shocking for such a beast, such a big man like Till. Even though we know that Masvidal has pop and snap in his punches, but for him to do that to Till was shocking, and to lay him out, lights out on the feet, head bounce off of the canvas. But I got to say, this one, Manuwa's might have taken the cake, because I might be getting a little too technical on the after knockout effect.
Right.
But the way that he was out on the feet, and then his head slapped back. It was like a whipping technique. That is the worst kind.
Right.
The whipping technique. Even though you don't want to face plant and it scrapes your face up because the canvas is like sandpaper.
Right.
To have that whipping effect and have it bounce off, I would hope that A, that he's okay, but B, that he takes a good 6 months off. I really want him to rest his brain after that, because that's a double concussion or whatever you want to call it. That's not a medical term. I know.
Right.
I don't know what it is, the medical term is, but that's about as severe as it gets. After you have a hard concussion, getting hit again, and the second canvas hit was much worse than the first, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I don't know what will become of Jimmy Manuwa, right? Like, I think he was ranked number 10 or 11 or so going into this fight, and that's the thing with him is he's either the hammer or the nail. There's no in between. There's just absolutely no in between.
Volkan Oezdemir was another one that put his lights out, right?
Yeah, and he's also been the one to lay people out, And so he's been in these wars. He's been in these absolutely insane fights, and it does beg the question about his chin. It does make you think, like, you just can't go through that much repeated trauma and still keep being, okay with it. So I listen to Bodie. I don't know, what he's going to do, obviously. I'm a fan for sure, but it's hard to see somebody get knocked out like that hard, like you said, and it was just so brutal. And when people don't break their fall or anything like that, and then it's compounded, by getting laid out, and it's just hard to see. That aside, though, like, I know this sounds messed up. The other side of you is like, oh snap! Oh, what a knockout!
Well, 100%. I was at Cage's soccer game, and as soon as the game was done, I ran to the car to put on ESPN Plus. And as soon as I turned it on, the fight began. And, whatever the knockout was, a minute into it, I go, thank God I watched this live, because I wanted to, when you experience a devastating knockout live, it's much different than seeing the 50,000 retweets on Instagram or on Twitter, and then seeing it after somebody already verbalized what happened. Seeing it live, amazing knockout. Credit to his opponent. I hope Jimmy's okay. Bad fall. But I mean, now this guy that I don't remember his name, his opponent,
Aleksandar Rakic.
Aleksandar Rakic. I'm sorry, man. I will learn your name, and I will know your name now, because you are now a possible knockout of the year candidate with that huge head kick, man. Congrats to you.
For sure. And if I'm correct, I think I was reading, he was saying, he's not like in a hurry, in a sprint to the title. wants to take his time, but a lot of people were already considering like, oh, it'd be fun to watch him and Johnny Walker fight each other, which totally would be.
He needs a guy like that. He needs like a contender type guy because, you know, it was a nice kick, but you could see, you know, it wasn't on the level of John Jones or some of these other guys just yet. So beautiful knockout, but he needs, definitely some more fights. And there's a bunch of young up-and-coming guys in the division right now that make fun fights for him.
For sure. And we just need to see more of his skill set because it's like, you know, when somebody comes in and wins kind of quickly like that, you don't really know how good he is at stuff.
100%. And what would have happened if Jimmy Manuwa would have landed first? Exactly. If Jimmy would have been the hammer and not the nail, how well does his shin hold up and how well does he take adversity and how well is his ground game? A lot of question marks, but we know that when he is the hammer, he hits it hard.
For sure. Makwan Amirkhani got a submission win over Fishgold as well. That one was exciting. You know, those two have been going back and forth, a lot of smack talk and stuff. I like Makwan, you know, I do. So he got a nice win. But your teammate, Christos, also picked up a victory.
Man, great victory for him. Christos looked, let's see, I only watched you fight once, but this will be the first time I want to say this is one of his best performances that I've seen. I'll say that. Christos, you looked phenomenal, man. I liked the striking department, looked great. The takedowns, I mean, I wasn't counting, but I want to say you had at least 7, 8, 9 takedowns in that fight. I mean, congratulations. That's more than I've had in my entire career. Doubled more than I've had. I don't have many, but you looked phenomenal in the wrestling. And I really liked the way he was mixing it up. He would throw a hard uppercut, and he would feint the takedown, throw another uppercut, and then shoot the takedown. He kept his opponent guessing. Right. But his opponent was tough, man. He had a really tough opponent. He was a gamer. But Christos looked great. Aside, if I was going to split hairs and really find something that Christos needed a little work on, and I don't think he needs work on it, but just something that it showed in the fight was he slowed down towards the end. He kind of gassed himself out. He addressed that at the end, something like he didn't want to gas himself out in this fight. And when I train with him, he seems to never slow down, so I was kind of surprised. But yeah, in a couple of his fights, I'm not sure what it is. It's just the work rate, how hard he's working. But he does get a little tired. He does get tired in the third round. But happy for my friend, man. That's 2 in a row. He's a guy. Let me just remind you, Karyn. You probably know this, but he's a guy that was kind of accidentally cut from the UFC.
Right.
He went like, I want to say 2-1 or 2-2 in UFC. And he was injured, and the UFC offered him a fight. They said, oh, he's injured right now, but we'll take it as soon as he's back.
Right.
And then when they did that big cleansing of the roster and cut like 50 people, they threw his name on there. And then when Christos fought in another organization and won, Dana White, and he went and say, Dana, I need to get back in the UFC.
Was it because Dana was there for looking for a fight or something,
Dana was there looking for a fight or one of these type shows. And Dana was like, I don't even know why we cut you. Was it an accident? And so it was kind of just one of these wrong place at the wrong time, however you want to say it. He worked his way back, fighting in Russia, fighting in other organizations, got back to the UFC. His first fight back, I'm sorry, I'm telling the Christos story right here.
No, it's great.
His first fight back in the UFC is the record-breaking Oliveira submission. What's his name? What's Oliveira's first name?
Charles Oliveira. When he beat Royce.
Charles Oliveira. Right. Yes, I believe it was that one where Charles Oliveira breaks the record. Christos comes back. Like, give the man a break. But since then, he went 2 wins after that. Yeah. And he looked great. Kenny Johnson had to be thrilled. Kenny Johnson, my wrestling coach, his wrestling coach, Bolt Wrestling, was in his corner, and he was doing a lot of stuff that we work on in drills. So cool. I know that was a bit of a rant. But, you know, when you see your friends succeed and you know what they're drilling and you see them execute what's being drilled inside of the octagon, it not only makes you excited, but it reassures that what we're doing in practice is for a reason.
No, that makes sense. And does he pronounce it Giagos or Giagos? Christos Giagos?
I need to ask him as well. Because
it's Greek, obviously, but...
Yeah, I say it differently.
So I think it would be Giagos. I think
Giagos, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Greek pronunciation would be Giagos. But,
yeah, I should know, but I say it differently all the time, so... We're going to say it.
Anyway, he's a straight-up G, so good for him.
Yeah,
good for him.
Great fight for him. I'm glad we got to talk about that one.
And Kenny was very vocal in his corner, too. Like, I think they even said something about him. Like, they were like, Kenny Johnson getting real vocal over here. Like, I feel like they called him out on the broadcast, even.
Yeah, you could hear him across the octagon very, very much, so he's used to that one.
Awesome. Hey, so listen, upcoming this weekend, UFC 238, couple of title fights. We have Henry Cejudo facing off with Marlon Moraes for the bantamweight title because obviously TJ had to vacate. And then also Valentina Shevchenko is going to fight Jessica I. You got thoughts on either one of those? Like, I'm not sure how you're leaning on either of these.
Yeah, well, I'll start with the co-main real quick.
Yeah.
Jessica I, we've met before, sweet girl. I just think this is a tall task for her right now. I don't think anybody's going to be dethroning the champion right now. So if she does, look, it would not be the first time in recent years that we have been shocked. I mean, with the fights last night, with Anthony Joshua getting knocked out,
Ruiz.
to some of the to Joanna Jędrzejczyk getting dropped on her head.
Yeah.
You cannot really pick a 100% assured fight these days. But with that said, the Bullet, she's a bad mamma jamma. She's a bad woman. I'm not going against her anytime soon. And I know you probably second that opinion as well. But in the main event, I'm really a bit torn with this. Henry Cejudo has shown me that he is a force. But, man, what is this, Magic? Marlon the
Moraes,
Magic? Moraes, he's magic, man. He's explosive. He has pinpoint accuracy. He's been facing beasts before the UFC, since he's been in the UFC, improving himself. So it should be a phenomenal main event for sure.
Yeah, well, I definitely second you on the Valentina thing. I don't think anybody's beating her for quite some time.
No one,
I just don't. And that's no disrespect to Jessica, who,
It's not.
It's really not. You know, when she first got into the UFC, we didn't have the 25 division. That's where she had fought. And so she came in with, a lot of, with some fanfare and kind of with a chip on her shoulder. But she went like 1-5 or something. It just didn't go her way. But she's not really a 35er. Went away from the UFC, came back, and as a 125er, she's won 3 in a row and has this title fight. But that said, I just think Valentina is on another level. Like, she's just the bar by which everybody else is measured. To me, she's one of the best female fighters we have on the planet.
Any division. I couldn't have said any better. On the planet, she has proven it. Technique for technique. Everything she does, she lives, breathes, fighting. This is what she does. And again, to go back to the Jessica I thing, I remember when she was on that little bit of a losing skid, and then she won her first fight, and she was so emotional. I love that moment. I remember, I know when I come off of a loss and I get that win back, it's like, oh, thank God it's like getting, like, I'm working again. I have a job again. I have friends. It's like getting that great feeling. Yes, you go home and sleep happy at night. It feels so good. So I was so happy for her. I remember seeing that. It made me emotionally closer to her. Yes. But like we're saying, when we get to the Bullet, when we get to Shevchenko, it's kind of reminds me of almost like when what's his name, Anthony Smith fought John Jones or something. It's like, well, you're good. But now we're talking about another level, and I don't think we're quite there yet, because there is levels to this game, and there's greatness, and she is in that ballpark of greatness. So we'll see what's going to happen. Maybe we will get proved wrong, and we'll come back in here, and we will say we were dead wrong, but it's going to be a tough one to do.
I'd be curious to see how hard Jessica punches. I'm not sure.
The power, maybe.
Because I feel like she could be powerful.
Yes. I mean, she's going to need it. She's going to need some type of X factor, because I don't think she's going to have the speed, the technique, or the accuracy.
Valentina will be faster.
She'll be faster, sharper. I think she's a little bit better striker.
Crisp,
Valentina showed even in the clinch, she's a very strong woman. Not too many holes in her game.
I'm such a Valentina fan. I think she's
awesome. I was about to say, every time we work together, Karyn,
I think she's awesome.
We do UFC Now, and we covered this fight on UFC Now. And it's like, we talk 90% about Shevchenko, but it's like, we know so much about her. We know how good she is. We've seen so much. So it's like every time there's a contender, and look, me and you both geeked out the same way every time Joanna would fight, because when Joanna would fight the next challenger, it was like, all right, this challenger is very good, very good, very good. There's a chance, but this is Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Let's talk about how awesome she is. So it's just tough to go against somebody that's that good.
It is for sure. But I feel like I'm going to say Marlon wins.
Okay, so I wish I could go against you, but if I had to put some money on these two fights, I would definitely go Magic and Bullet.
Yeah, I think Henry is very, very good, and I don't necessarily think he'll be undersized, right? Because in the past he's had a hard time making 25, so I don't necessarily think it's going to be that he's small. But I feel like Marlon is so explosive and is going to have more power. I just feel like he has. Not to say that Henry doesn't have momentum, because certainly he does after beating TJ. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Marlon has just been on that trajectory. I feel like, not that it's his to lose, because I do think it's going to be competitive, but I don't know. I think Marlon's going to win.
Well, I'll say this on the other side of the coin. If Henry Cejudo can bring that same type of momentum and speed and power and aggression that he did in the TJ fight, this will be a very interesting fight, because I thought that TJ was going to be so slick and skillful on the feet, on the striking. But when Cejudo came into that fight against TJ Dillashaw and just was aggressive from the get-go, found the target, and the way he like shrugged TJ off and went right back at him, like that's what he's going to have to do against Marlon. Same type of repeat performance, but it's going to be tough, because we're talking about a much stronger individual, much more explosive individual.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't know. I mean, it'd be amazing if we get another champ. And it's totally possible, because obviously Henry has a very good skill set. He can mix in the wrestling and the boxing, everything. He's the full package. To be able to beat Demetrius Johnson, obviously, you kind of feel like if you can beat Demetrius, who can't you beat? But I don't know. I just feel like it's Marlon's.
Hey, okay. Let's get it going. Let's jump on the bandwagon, Karyn. Let's just put this resume up on the forefront real quick. His last two fights, he beat one of the GOATs, one of the greatest of all time, Demetrius Johnson. And then he comes back, and not only does he take out TJ Dillashaw more devastatingly than he has ever been taken out in his life, but this is the first time I say this, he did it when TJ was cheating. He did it when TJ was on the sauce, and it was the best TJ we've ever seen. He took him out. So this could happen.
Why am I doubting? That's the thing. I shouldn't doubt Henry, and you're totally right. You make a solid case. I shouldn't doubt him at all. And I feel like a lot of times people have doubted him, right? And he comes through. It's not I have nothing against the dude. It's nothing like that. And you're right. Like when you lay it out like that, you're like, why wouldn't he win? Why wouldn't he win? I just feel like Marlon's going to have more power and more. I just feel like his shots are going to hurt more than Henry's. Really, is what it comes down to.
And I think so too. I think that is a good way. I think he's going to be the bigger guy in the clinch, even though Henry has the wrestling. I think when power comes into play, explosiveness could shrug guys off, and you could get back to your feet very quick. And I think that's how he will get back to his feet when Henry does take him down. If Henry takes him down, and then you will see the power on the feet. Henry's got a big head. He could probably take a punch. We'll see what happens when they land. So it'll be interesting, though. Yeah,
it's cool. So we are going to, like I said, we're recording this right now on Sunday night. We have a media lunch with Henry and Tatiana Suarez tomorrow, Monday. Nice. Tatiana is fighting Nina Ansaroff, which I love this fight. This is like a title eliminator, I think, basically for the strawweights. So, Nina's been on a nice winning streak right now. Tatiana is so dominant with that wrestling.
Beast. Tatiana's
she's
amazing.
So good. But also, in terms of the bantamweights, we have that title fight as the main event, but Aljamain Sterling is fighting Pedro Munoz. So I talked to Aljamain Sterling the other day. We have that interview up on MMAHeat.com and everything. Aljo, such a good dude. Great grappler. He's been on a tear right now. He did lose to Marlon. That's the fight where Marlon kneed him. And Aljo ended up dabbing. But they both beat Brett Johns. A good fight. And I know you have trained with Pedro, so you know his skill set. But, of course, Aljo, coming out of the Cerro Longo team, working with those guys a lot, and has just been really getting better and better.
Yeah, man, this is a good fight. The most ripped up man in the UFC against the best guillotine in the UFC.
Oh, you think Pedro does have the best?
Pedro, at Black House, we've got a lot of black belts over at Black House. and Pedro would teach the guillotines. Even though Kevin Casey is a guillotine guy himself, Pedro would teach the guillotines. He would get everybody with him. He's no joke in there. He likes the arm in, arm out, doesn't really matter. But this fight is interesting because when you look at Aljo, what he likes to do, he likes to fight from the outside, uses long-range kicks, kick, and then take you down. Or if he kind of stuns you with a kick, he'll get in there with the hands. But he's not really a boxer. No. He's a long-range kicker. Doesn't really like – I don't mean it's a negative way because I'm a fan. He's my boy.
I love him.
He doesn't like to stand in the pocket. He doesn't like to get hit. Aljo doesn't like to get punched. He likes to be on the outside kicking and then uses wrestling to then get into punching range. Pedro is the opposite. Pedro is an in-the-pocket puncher, doesn't mind getting hit, takes one to give one type of guy. And even though he's got great grappling, Aljo would be the better offensive wrestler. Yep. But if you put your head anywhere near Pedro's hips, he's going to grab a guillotine, and that's big trouble. So is this going to be a stand-up fight? Does Aljo say, you know what? Is my pride too big? I could take this guy down and not get caught? Or does he say it's too dangerous? I'm going to stay on the outside and kick for 3 rounds and test my kicks against Pedro's boxing? It's interesting to see what happens, but I'm going to say now, I think that Aljo is confident enough that if he does have an opportunity to take him down, he will take him down because he is that, and he has reason to be, he's that confident in his grappling. He's a very strong grappler.
I agree with you on that because he's also, you know, said to me and has said before, like, you know, that's his strength. That's what he's great at. He doesn't care if, you know, some fans are like, just bleed, you know, and all they want are knockouts. Yeah. He's like, look, this is what I'm great at. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep winning my fights. And I actually really like watching Aljo fight. I find him to be an entertaining guy and stuff. But yeah, he's like, look, I'm going to do what I need to do. And if my wrestling and my grappling is what wins me the fight, then obviously that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to sacrifice what I'm great at because you want to see a knockout.
Yeah, no, he's not a firefight guy, but he makes fights entertaining. They could be like 30 minutes of non-entertainment, but then when he gets the takedown, he'll show you some amazing grappling. He'll show you some good ground and pound. He brings his spark back. He's never like a snooze fest type guy, but he'll play it very careful until he's able to explode. Then he will explode. And he's always entertaining after. He's got character. He's got charisma. He brings the chain out. He brings the 80s flat top. Or he brings out, well, not even a flat top. He's got like that 45. He's got the kid and play going on right now. Yeah, the kid and play, you know, great. So I like him, man. I've seen him over the years, always at the Performance Institute and other things. He's a cool guy, man. I like him a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, I'm half Jamaican. He is Jamaican as well. And so, like, he's one of the fighters that I always let my mom know, you know, like, the Jamaican kid's fighting right now. And Aljo walks out with a flag. And, yeah, good dude, real good dude. So that's UFC 238. That's Saturday. Otherwise, yeah, we did UFC Now the other day. So I think I can't remember if we have one for this week's show that people should look for. Did we do? For
UFC
238, we did, right?
For Moraes and Cejudo? Yeah, exactly. We did that one. So that one should be coming out pretty soon. Cool. I remember doing that one. Cool. Because, again, we were talking about Valentina the whole time.
Right, I know. Exactly. You're right. We're like, bow down.
Exactly.
She's so good. All right, well, so on Twitter, at Karyn Bryant, KarynBryant. You can also find me there on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We also have MMA Heat, all that. Alan, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, at Alan Jouban. I keep it simple. Alan Jouban across the board on everything. Give me a follow, guys.
Cool. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. And also, these are found at MMA.audio if you just want the audio link. Thanks for checking it out. See you next time.
Cool. Take care, guys.